Okay, hello everyone. My name is Tara. I'm over the educator community. We're going to get started right at 3:30. So I'm excited to have you that have already joined. If you want to go ahead and put into chat where you are from, that would be awesome. Your district or your in the city and state, if it's not easily um, known by your district, that would be great. This session will be recorded. I know sometimes folks can kind of get in, but not able to stay in. So the session will be recorded. And again, we'll be starting in just a couple minutes. Hey, you guys, do you have access to your microphone as well as cameras? If you want to come on camera, that's totally fine. It's up to you. Lovely. I see Jersey Shore. Hey, Barry. I see Salt Lake City and Canada. Yippee. Love to have our friends up in Canada joining us. Awesome. So those of you who have joined before for any of our digital workshops last year in the community, you know that it is the goal for us to make these sessions as interactive as possible, and that's going to continue as we move into this year. I'm really excited about our Teaching Toolbox series, because first and foremost, you guys get to hear from truly our in-house experts, our PD team, which some of you may already know from the field, but they're going to be facilitating these sessions. And the cool thing is you'll get to hear from all of them. So you're going to get to know their personalities. You're going to get to see and understand some of their passions that kind of drive their love and interest around our software and hardware. So this is a really exciting series where the goal is we're going to hopefully have it rotate every couple of weeks, but you'll always find out when there's going to be a new installation, because I'll make sure that I do post it in the community as well as socials. So we are right at 3:30. And I do want to get started. Again, I want to reiterate with our digital workshops, it is an interactive. So that's why you have access, or you should. If you don't, I will make sure I make that happen. You will have access to your microphone and your camera. So if you want to come on, ask questions, please do so. This is by no means intended to be a sit and get, but fully interactive. So I'm thrilled to have Tawnie with us today. And Tawnie is, like I said, one of our ViewSonic professional development trainers, and she is presenting on differentiation and my ViewBoard. So that's super near and dear to my heart. My background's in gifted, and differentiation is a big thing. I want to welcome everybody, Kentucky, Canada, Utah, to everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is being recorded, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Tawnie. Thank you, love.
Thank you, Tara. Hi, everybody. I recognize a couple people in there. Hi, Barry. Barry's my fellow trainer, so you may have seen her if you've ever gone to a training. And Bhavini, I haven't seen you in a while. Lovely to see you here. If you are someone who's gone to one of our trainings, especially mine, you may have seen me before. If you've never gone to a training, no big deal. This is a very open session. I'm going to show you some things, but please, if you have questions or you have comments or you want me to specify things, either jump in the chat and Tara will be managing that, or you can turn your microphone and your camera on and you can ask me directly. This is not just a kind of I speak and you sit. I don't think that's the best way to learn anyway. So before I start showing you anything, my name is Tawnie. I have been a teacher for over 20 years. I currently teach teachers in this position, but I taught middle and high school for a really long time, briefly taught college, and I did teach elementary in China. I didn't quite survive. I guess I prefer sarcasm over energy, but I have mad respect for all elementary teachers. So I definitely have a lot of knowledge about classroom. And I briefly worked in well, not briefly, for quite a few years, I worked in a school where inclusion was part of our charter. And so we worked really hard to make sure that we met every student at every level. Didn't matter where they were on the spectrum. We wanted to make sure that all of our content was accessible. So when I came on to ViewSonic, I looked at some of our things and I thought, wow, this would be amazing to be able to differentiate in the moment or even beforehand with my own content. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. But before I start, do any of you have any arenas where you're like, I'd love to know more about differentiation for middle school or for, English or for whatever it is? So I don't want to be so broad since there's not a ton of us in here yet. I want to make sure that I'm meeting your specific needs. So does anyone want anything that's a specific example, or I can just do a general one and jump in? Going once,
Mm.
going twice. Sold to me. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you something that I really think is a phenomenal resource. How many of you can give me a thumbs up either in the chat or on your screen or whatnot, have been teaching for over 15 years? Do we have anybody who's been in the school system over 15 years? Okay. Got two. Awesome. Anybody else? Looks like somebody's typing in the chat. Okay, so we've got a few of us that have been here for a while. I don't know if you all remember, but back in the day, we used to have to make graphic organizers with, pen and pencil and paper. You'd get like two cans to make a Venn diagram, or line the ruler up so that you could go ahead and create different things. And as awesome as that is, we had this glorious time period where you could find everything online. It was about 2010. So many teachers were sharing. It was wonderful. But today, at least I have found that so many things are watermarked now. You go on and you find a really cool graphic organizer and it's on Pinterest and the pixelation is off, or it's someone's name or a company across the top. And you have to pay for it if you really want to use it. So what we've done, and you have full access to this, hopefully you've seen this before if you ever trained with us, but if you haven't, I want to make sure and show it to you today, is we've got a bunch of graphic organizers that you can print. You can also use them within our software on the board. So I want to start with that. Let me just double check the chat. I got some thumbs ups there. Oh yeah. Yeah, education over 15 years doesn't have to be in a classroom, but just working with teachers and understanding the idea of, differentiating content is a big thing. So I'm going to share my screen and open up our website. So if you have never been here before, our website looks like this. So what you would go to is myviewboard.com, and I'm actually going to use our software to write on my screen. If you've never seen Windows Toggle before, it's probably one of our coolest or most liked tools. And basically what it is it is a way to bring over all of our whiteboard tools so that you can write on top of or add tools on top of anything online. So this is a website and I want to go ahead and write on it. So this is our myviewboard.com, and you can see the name up there. It is myviewboard.com. And if you want to go ahead and join me there, you absolutely can. When you click on it, it's going to ask you if you want to sign in. And if you've never done that before, your sign-in will be a single sign-on typically. If it's not, it could be that your school is working on getting their account set up. So you might have access to these things in the near future. But for most of you, it's going to be a Microsoft or a Google kind of single sign-on. So you're going to use your SSO, your single sign-on, to sign in. So if you want to join me in this journey to find these, go for it. If not, we are recording. You can always look back when you have time to go ahead and go on your own and find these. But when you get, what'd you say, Tara?
Oh no, I didn't say
Oh,
anything. I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anybody. All right, when you get here, as you can see, it says good afternoon to my name. It will say good afternoon to your name. So it shouldn't say Tawnie Black for you. But in here, we've got a whole bunch of kind of rectangles, and they each have names. You'll probably have less than I do because I have an admin account. Unless you are an IT or admin, then you might have as many as I do. But the area that I want us to click on for right now is this one right here. And you can see it says ready to use educational materials to enhance lesson delivery. So I'm going to click on that, but first let me clear my screen so it's easier to look at. All right, so here is our original content. And the first thing it brings us to is lessons. So these are all lessons that we've already prepared for you. They've got subject and grade level connected to them. You're absolutely welcome to have these. But as we're talking about differentiation today, what I want to go to is the little icon at the top right next to the kind of shapes. It's the mountain with the sun, and it's called backgrounds. So when you click on backgrounds, it brings you here, and you can see we've got a whole bunch of subjects here. So the one I want to look at to start with, but if you're following me in your own website right now, you can click on any of them, like start exploring, have fun. But the one that I want to start with and look at is the organizer one. So when we click on organizer, you're going to see here, and they're categorized according to lessons that we've created. But if you look at them here, see this urban landscape is about a specific lesson, but this particular one right here can be used for anything. So just because it's under a subject category doesn't necessarily mean it's only for that. And as I scroll through here, you're going to see all sorts of them. But for me, for example, I was an English teacher for most of my career. And what I love about these ones right here is we have them in color, in black and white. We have them with with guidance, and we have them without. So let me go ahead and go to the compare and contrast. So we've got this one. It's colorful. It's got the words, the keywords that they can use while creating those sentences or paragraphs that are compare and contrast. It's got examples with apples and oranges. We also have this exact same one, but just with the title. So the next level up of students who don't need that guidance, but still need the categorization and the shapes to kind of be able to fit them where they need to be. And then we also have it just blank, should you want to do it with another subject category, or in black and white if you need to not have that color differentiation for some of your students. So what I love about all of our graphic organizers that we've got in here is that we have them in varying levels. So when it comes to differentiation, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So this one student needs one thing, or this 4 students need another thing. You have them already here, and you can have the same subject matter, but for all of them. Now, what's super cool about these is, let's say that you want to use a couple of these. You come in here, you favorite them. You can see this one's already favorited by me because it says remove. And then you can just click, same with that one. You can just click favorite right here, add to favorites. And once you do that, so you can print these. I can download them here in full HD or 4K, and then I can just use them. But on the My View board, so when you're on the view board in front of your room or on the side of your room, wherever your view board is, and you open up our software, it's the little white circle with the word my and the cloud around it. If it's super outdated, it might still be a yellow cloud. But once you're in here, you're going to find all of those favorites that you had down here in that same mountain icon. So these are where all those backgrounds or graphic organizers are going to be. And let me go ahead and click on it. So these are our basic ones. If you've never seen these, you get access to these even if you do not have an account with us. They're also easy to access. But if you come right next to this little Polaroid stack to the little swirly bird, its primary colors looks like a little bird. When I click on that, that takes me to all the ones we were just looking at online. Here's all the subjects. And I click on my favorites. Here's all the ones I favorited. So let's say that I want to use this one for the whole class. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to apply it to this page. And then it just drops on here. Let me go ahead and clear my screen. Once it's up here, if I click on the hand here, I can zoom this out. And now I can have multiple kids at the board writing and filling this out at the same time, all of them doing work. So I've got the kids who need to stand up, work together in a group. I can have a printout for the kid that maybe needs to work alone, but they need the guidance with the keywords. So I have all of this different access for a singular lesson without me having to create it because it exists all in our My ViewBoard world. So I'm going to pause because I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I want to jump into the chat and hear from you guys. When you think about your classroom or you think about teachers you work with and their classrooms, where could they use or in what ways could they use both a board to have kids standing up and working and these backgrounds as graphic organizers or worksheets? So think about it for a second, maybe just drop in the chat, or if you're like, I don't want to type, I'm exhausted, you can turn on your mic and share with us. But I'd love to hear ideas of where you might be able to use these. So I'm going to stop talking for a second and hear from y'all.
Hi, this is Bethany. Can you hear me okay?
Hi there, yeah.
I think for the teachers in my district, for Palm Springs, we're all about teachers using thinking maps and the kiddos using thinking maps. So having the graphic organizers, but being able to import or create with the students the thinking maps to help organize their thinking, whether it's prepping for writing or kind of going over comprehension for a reading text that they did, but using our tools that we do in our district and utilizing it with instruction and with the kids.
It's a great idea. I love that. Thinking maps are such a huge part of classrooms, and just having them accessible is a cool thing wherever they are. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to type in the chat or turn your mic on and share? Love to hear from you. Ooh, we got someone typing. While this person is typing to share, which I very much appreciate, if anyone is currently in a classroom, you're not in admin, you're in a classroom, will you raise your hand or give me a thumbs up or heart or something like that? Oh, I love that, Gloria. Have them do their math problems and see their thinking. If you haven't gone into myviewboard.com before and you do it today or someday in the future, absolutely take a look at our math graphic organizers. There's some amazing ones for like how to line up your math problems, which I know for me I was not math minded when I was a kid and it would start to like go off the page. So definitely that's a great one. Yeah. Okay. So I think it's Tanis or Tanis. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong. But classroom teacher right now, Melissa, classroom teacher. Awesome. Fourth grade. Okay. Classroom teacher, Gloria as well. So we got a few classroom teachers, not just admin. That's awesome. Oh, high school teacher. Wonderful. So I will say this, Susan, I'm also a high school teacher for a long time. And I know some of the graphic organizers look like they're, for kids, but I'll tell you right now, some of my students, especially in writing, really needed some of these when it came to doing essays. Just some sort of like structure. Otherwise, it just became a word vomit onto page. So I would take a look at them. We have some great ones for the older grades as well. There's some really cool ones for science, if any of you teach science. Okay, okay, awesome. Thank you. A couple other high school teacher, oh, you used to teach middle school. Yeah, I've done both. I prefer the middle school. I don't know why. Maybe because I like chaos. Okay, I do want to show you some other things, but before I move on, let me just recap and see if you have any questions about this specific thing. So I'm going to reshare and I'm going to clear this writing off my screen, kind of the messiness that I put there. If I click on this, if I tap on this hand again, 2 times, so it's 2 touches of the hand. See, I'm at 59%. I can undo that to get it back centered and back to a singular graphic organizer. So if you're using it up on the board, as opposed to giving these out as handouts, and you're having the kids come up, absolutely, you can shrink it, move it all the way around. You can also, up here with this singular pages where it says number 1, and you click on that, I can just hit this blue paper on blue paper icon to duplicate this. So I can make a few if I want to do like groups. They go up and they're working on it together. We have a really cool one that does the elements of a story. So if you were breaking down a story, the kids could go up there and they can write all together, and then the next group can go up and they can write all together. So again, another way to use these up on the screen. But I do want to go back to myviewboard.com where these existed. So I was looking here at the organizers, and you can see we've got up to 9 pages of these. There's hundreds and thousands and millions. This one down here, speaking of mind maps, this is a mind map that you can use. We've got a lot of them, but we've also got great ones for science, as you can see here. And if I click on any of them, you're just going to see awesome stuff. There's story mapping there. There's the water cycle, which is awesome. So, I mean, as you can see, this goes through the gamut, the range of subject matters and grade levels. So please, 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 when you are in myviewboard.com, click on the ViewSonic Originals. And then once you're here, the very top, go to those backgrounds, and you can either download them if you want to use them as hard copies, or if you get in there and find one that you like, you can add to favorite, and then it will be there when you're back here in my view board and you go to the little mountain at the bottom, and then that swirly bird, that's where your favorites will be, the very top. So it's easier to look through here as opposed to on there. This is a KWL chart, which is an awesome one to use. Okay, so I'm going to move on, but I want to stop and see if anyone has a question about myviewboard.com, the backgrounds, or applying the background to a page or printing it. Oh, that's awesome. Love that. That's a really cool example, Melissa. Anyone have any questions? Looks like someone's typing, so we'll give them a second. Remember, you can also turn your mic on and ask. There's not a ton of people in here, so don't feel like you have to type. I know it can be disconcerting to have your camera on sometimes, but feel free to be audio. Got 2 people typing. Might have 2 questions. I love it. How do we add a specific thing not already as a choice in backgrounds? Awesome. So you just have to favorite them in myviewboard.com, or you can scroll through and look for them at that little swirly bird. If it's one that you want to add that's not in any of ours, like one you've created or you found online, you can go ahead and do that through the magic box. So I can show you where you can do that next. Absolutely. Is that what you meant, Gloria? Like things that are not in our backgrounds, like our MyViewBoard ones? Cool. Awesome. Yep, I'll show you how to do that. Let me check this one other question that's being typed, and I will show that to you. I also want to illustrate what Melissa is talking about there with the notes. I want to show you one thing, Melissa, that you can do, since I'm pretty sure you said you teach high school, or maybe not. No, maybe you didn't, but periodic table for chemistry seems like high school. Can we use on any screen? High school. Okay, cool. Thank you, Melissa. Can we use it on any screen irrespective of the window open? So the backgrounds that I was looking at are within the MyViewBoard software, but you can print them and use them anywhere. Is that what you're asking? Is it Perna? You could just give a thumbs up if that's what you're asking. If it's something else, feel free to ask something more specific. But you can use the backgrounds from the MyViewBoard software, or you can download it and then you can use it anywhere you want, you know, from your Google Drive, from you can email it, you can put it wherever you like to put it, but it exists within our myviewboard.com and the MyViewBoard software. Yeah, absolutely. You can share them with others on your team. I'll show you where you can do that as well. Cool. Okay, so let me show you. I love that these are coming together. All these questions are actually only 2 areas. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen, and I can go ahead and answer a couple of those questions, and then we'll make sure that we get to the other one in case I missed it. So if you want to download your own content within here to write on or do things with, all you have to use is this, called the Magic Box. It's a brown box with blue icons in it. Kind of looks like an Amazon surprise box. It's got all the goodies. When you click on it, so what I've done and what you can do if you haven't been trained by us before, I'll show you a place that you can find YouTube videos to show you how to do this. But I've added my Google Drive here to the Magic Box. Because I've done that, I can go into my drive and I can find anything here. So I have actually a graphic organizer that I have created that I used for a lesson. So I'm just going to double tap on it. It's going to download the file as a new file, so it will not interact with the file as it exists in my cloud drive, which means, let's say you're using the same lesson over and over again. You don't have to worry that you are interacting with the original. This is going to be a brand new one. So I select the page that I want, and I'm going to go ahead and import it. So here it is. If I use that hand tool again, I can zoom in and out, and I can write it in there, have them fill it in and out, fill it in as I move it in and out or move it around. I can also, like I showed you before, duplicate it. Does anyone remember how to duplicate it? Can anyone tell me in the chat, or turn on their mic and tell me where I can duplicate this if I want to make it a group fill in? Anybody? All right, I'll show you. It's this number 2 right here. It says the number 1 when there's only one page, and consecutive as you add pages. And then once I'm here, it's the blue on blue paper. So I click on that, and now I can duplicate it. So you can upload anything through the Magic Box as long as you've connected your drive. And we'll make sure and give you videos before you leave today to show you how to connect your drive if you've never done that before. So the Magic Box is how you import. That's how you bring the things in. Now, if you have a bunch of these that you've made or that you've taken from my ViewBoard and you want to share them with your team or give them to students, you're going to go right next to the Magic Box to that file folder. This is our save and share icon. It's an old icon. When you click on it, you're going to see even older icons. If anyone is under 25, you may not recognize the one in the center. That's a floppy disk. If you are anywhere near my age, you may remember those. The floppy disk with the pencil is if you want to save it as an interactive piece. So, for example, if all of your team is working on the same document and you want to share it, be able to write, erase, add objects, all that kind of stuff. If you come to the Google Drive there and you save it as the floppy disk with the pencil, pick your folder that you want to put it in, and then you name it. So, graphic organizer for English 1, okay? And then I hit that check mark. That's going to save it as an interactive file, which means I can erase it still if I've written on it. I can add things and delete things. If, however, you want to post it on Google Classroom or you want to email it or any of those things. So before I move on, to address the question in the chat about sharing with your team, if you share it as that interactive file in here, only people who have the whiteboard can open it. So just be aware that if someone doesn't have the whiteboard software, they won't be able to open it. If you want other people to open it or you want to give it to students, you go right next door to the blue box with the black arrow, and that is the export. So I come over here to my drive again, because I don't want to save it directly on my computer because, computers can get water dropped on them or all sorts of stuff. And now I can export it into these different file types, PDF, PowerPoint, PNG, etc. So floppy disk pencil is interactive save. Blue box with the black arrow is your export. I do want to show you one more that's really awesome for sharing with older students only, I would say, just because younger students may not be able to access this. But this right here, this QR code at the end, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse moving, but it's the icon at the very end of that top row there. This turns everything into a QR code. So let's say that you are writing notes on the graphic organizer. You pulled up the periodic table and everyone's writing notes, like I know our science teacher was just talking about. I don't know about you, but I used to have like 3 of the same class 3 times in a day, right? So one class might be the class that only gets through the first 7 pages. The next class might get through 15 pages. The next class, maybe 3 pages. All of our classes always differ. I don't know why. It just happens to work that way. At least it did for me. So let's say for each class, you want to make sure they get the notes only for them. If you click on this QR code, this turns your whole pages, all of these whiteboard pages, into a QR code that you yourself can take a picture of and just post on Google Classroom. So period 1, here's your notes. Period 2, here's your notes. So it's a very quick, generate the QR code, and then they can go ahead and get those notes for the day. One of the cool things is if you do turn it into a PDF or a QR code, your links and your YouTube videos will turn into their own individual QR codes that they can scan. So you do that after period 1. You take a picture of this for yourself. It includes that URL at the bottom, and then post it on Google Classroom or wherever you post Canvas, wherever you post your content. And then you come up here to that save folder again, hit that blue icon at the beginning. That makes it a new canvas, so you can save or not save. And then the next class comes in, you download the content, get ready for them, and do that same process. So one of the cool things about the save is that ability to, in the moment, share with the kids exactly what they need, especially for those kids that need the words on the board because they weren't able to copy it fast enough, which happens often. Okay, I'll stop sharing. So I know that a couple people were typing in the chat, so I want to make sure that we answered them. Okay, so you can't use the backgrounds just kind of, in like no man's land, you can use them in the whiteboard, or if you save them into your Google Drive or wherever OneDrive that you use, you can absolutely use them there. So when you say on any screen, you can use them on any computer within the ViewBoard software if you have it downloaded, or you can use it within your Drive if you just download it as opposed to having it in this software. So if you just download it from myviewboard.com, you can use it on any computer anywhere that you are. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Mr. Sharp. So if you guys didn't see in the chat, if you want to request specific backgrounds, you can do that through the link he added in the chat. And then you can ask for ones and they'll make it. Our software development team and our content teams are both so eager to make sure that they share and create things that teachers are going to really love. And so they love hearing from teachers. All right, I want to show you a couple other things, but I'm going to pause and make sure that we're clear about the few things that we've talked about. So myviewboard.com is where you can get all of those backgrounds, graphic organizers, download them or favorite them to use within the software. When they're in the software, you can write on them. You can have tile zoom in and out with the infinite canvas, the hand tool, and that allows everyone to be able to write at the same time, or you can make duplicates for group projects or group work, station activities. If you want to use it on your own, you just download it and put it into whatever drive you want to put it into, and then you can use it anywhere. All right, any other questions before I show you a couple other things? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Actually, before I do, I want to ask you a question. So how many of you use content that comes from an online source? Just give me a thumbs up or a, hand clap or wave, whatever it is easier for you to do icon wise. You use content that is on the web somewhere in writing. You use writing that's from a journal article or a book online or your own creation in your OneDrive or your Google Drive, or maybe a school website, right, where you've got the content. Okay, it looks like everybody does so far. So if you take any of the writing from that content, from those websites, and you put them into my ViewBoard, there's a couple really awesome things you can do for our kiddos who might need a little bit more support with reading. And that means reading regardless of subject. So if you're reading a scientific journal, or if you're reading even a math problem that has writing in it, right? So any sort of reading that you need a student or the whole class to do, if you take that writing and you put it into our software, I'm going to show you a couple of supports that we have for those kiddos. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for responding. Yep, absolutely. Let me go ahead and share my screen again, and I'll go ahead and walk you through what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and go to grab some text offline. So I taught English. I'm going to grab one that's easy for me to find because I used it often. It's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. So the Poetry Foundation, if you don't know this website has a bunch of poems, famous poems that you can just read while it's in here or copy and paste and utilize. It's an open forum for poetry usage. So if I come in here and I copy, so I'm just doing, Control C to copy this first stanza. And then I go into my ViewBoard software here and I press or tap on that little clipboard at the top. That's another old icon for paste. You can also, if you're on your computer, do Control V, but if you're at the ViewBoard itself and you're in the software on the ViewBoard, you're going to need to hit that clipboard on that floating toolbar. So I'm going to paste it in here. So here it is. Now you can see it's kind of small. Okay. So one thing that you can do is you can pinch, zoom in and out to make it larger, which is great. You can also take the corners and drag those to make it larger. In addition, let's say, let me get rid of this paste here so it's not in the way. let's say that you want to go ahead and have them read this aloud, but you're identifying vocabulary words. You want them to write it down. So first of all, you can have yourself or a student. I would say student always, make them do the work. No, I'm just kidding. You can have them come up, and if you go to the pen tools, the third icon, so I touch that pen tool twice, is a highlighter. So I'm going to pick green, and I can come up, and as we're reading aloud as a class, or I am, or a student is, I can go ahead and highlight the important words. If we're talking about alliteration, as you can see, that's an alliteration set there, the napping, wrapping, wrapping. Also, if you want to clear all of that highlight, you come up to the eraser tool, and the small trash can will clear just the writing. You also have the ability to, if you go over, let me go ahead and just identify these tools as I'm talking about them. So the pen tool here has a highlighter. Sorry, it's sloppy writing. And then next to it, you have that eraser, and the small trash can is where you can clear just the writing. So if you want to highlight and then clear the highlighting after, but keep the text, you just do the small trash can. But if you come over to the magic box, or a magic box, we also have the third icon at the top there, a bunch of math tools. These are not just math tools. There's a lot of other tools in here. And one of them is a magnifying glass. So this will allow you to zoom in and out for your kiddos maybe who cannot see as clearly, maybe they're in the back row or they just need it larger. So you can drag your hand along as they're reading. Also in the magic box, next to the magnifying glass is a spotlight. This spotlight, if you go to the gear, you can increase it so it's dark all across the screen. And then you go to the box for writing. You drag the box along like that. You make it the size you want. And now I can go ahead and read line by line, right? So if I want to be able to help them focus as we're reading, again, I'd probably have a student come up and do that. Just make them move a little bit more, those who need to get up. But it gives that focus. So if they have a hard time tracking. Now, if you have the Windows version of our software, there's one more awesome tool that comes with the writing. Any writing you have on here, whether it's your own typing or it's a copy and paste, if you click on these words again with the select tool, that's that green arrow with the lasso, that's select. If I tap on the words, a little pop-up menu pops up. That pop-up menu is our adorning menu. You know, like adornments like on our Christmas tree or adornments on, jewelry or wherever it is where you're just putting extras on top of something that's already there. That's kind of what these tools are. And one of them, the little book that has kind of an audio icon on it, this is Immersive Reader. So I know somebody asked in the chat translation. So in Immersive Reader, number one, you can play this aloud. You can change the voice settings, male, female, speed. In the top right-hand corner, you've got 3 icons. These will allow you to adjust, and this is very important for differentiating for some of our kids with vision difficulties. You can adjust the size. You can increase or decrease the spacing. You can also change the font, and you can change the color in the background. This contrast color is awesome for some kiddos. If you feel like it's too much, you can also do green, which is another one that's very helpful. Right next to the A, which is the text preferences, is a little set of lines with a magic wand. This will allow you to show syllable breaks. It'll also allow you to see the parts of speech, the major parts of speech with their labels. Once that's identified, you can click on some of them to see a picture dictionary here. If you've got that turned on at the very end where the reading preferences are. In addition to the picture dictionary and the reading preferences, you can do a line focus read. So when you press play, it will go ahead and go line by line itself as it reads aloud. And then last but not least, in fact, last but most important, you can translate for all of your EL kids, especially those who have maybe a one-off language, meaning maybe you have 5 or 6 kids who speak another language, and then you can make a translation before you start the class. But maybe you've got that one kid and you have an in-the-moment subject, a journal, an article, and you're like, I really want to share this with the class, but I didn't make, a bunch of translations beforehand. No problem. Copy the text into the My View board, and you can come in here and translate it into all of these languages. Any of the major languages, Arabic, for example, if you click on it, and then you have to hit whole document to get all the words, you're going to see it will also read aloud. And when you click on the words, you will get both the English and the translated language for some of them. I'm not sure where one is. You will also see a picture dictionary sometimes. And then at the very top of the screen, you can switch between your original and the translated language. And now remember, this is just a pop-up. So that means that, oops, I have a pop-up. That means that you can go ahead and leave your text right here in the middle of your screen as you're working the whole time. And then you just click on that book and you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to copy and paste, open up Google Translate in another tab, have anything prepped beforehand. You just copy the text in here and you have access to that. So to reiterate again, let me clear my screen and then we'll see if there's any questions. I come out here anywhere there's text, an article, a journal, a short story, content of your own from Google if you want to. It doesn't matter where you get it from. You just highlight, Control C, come into the My View board, paste it either with Control V, or if you're on the view board itself, this clipboard. Once it's here, you can use these arrows to drag or your fingers to pinch. And then at the very top with your pen, you have a highlighter if you want to highlight. If you do end up doing anything on there and you want to erase it, the eraser has a small trash can that'll clear just the writing. In the magic box, we've got the magnifying glass and the spotlight, which will allow you to show the letters larger and also do a highlighted area that you can drag as you read for tracking. And then last but not least, when you click on the words with the select tool, you'll see a book, and that will give you Immersive Reader, which has translation, read aloud, and part of speech identification. So that's a lot of stuff. I'm going to stop screen sharing, going to come back over here. All right, so I see we had some questions as I was sharing, and some of my coworkers got in and answered them. Let me make sure. Immersive Reader. Oh, that's awesome to hear. That's wonderful that Immersive Reader has been helpful with your EL students. Okay, awesome. So I'm actually going to stop right now. And this last question would be a Tara question. And before I share it, or before I answer it, or before I let Tara answer it, I want to see if you have any questions about Immersive Reader or about copying text or using the pen, select, eraser tools to interact with the text. So Perna, we'll get back to you about that answer in 1 second. But does anyone have any questions about those things before we move on? I want to make sure you can turn your audio on. You can write it in text, whatever you'd like. Oh, look at that. Dan immediately provided you with something. Ask and you will receive. See, our team's always ready to go ahead and make sure these things happen. So I'll point that out to you and explain what it is in a second. But does anyone else have a question about immersive reader or text or being able to differentiate in the moment and meet all your students' needs without having to prepare it beforehand? Okay, so before we go ahead and address these, what to do at the end, how do I get it certified, and all that kind of stuff, why don't you tell me in the chat maybe one thing you might try next week, not today, or I mean, not tomorrow, but next week in school with your kiddos. One of these things, like maybe it's backgrounds, maybe it's just the pen tool, highlighting text, maybe it's immersive reader. So tell me one thing that you might want to try or one thing that you want to share with your teachers if you're an admin when you go back. And then we'll make sure and share all this helpful information with you. Oh, yay. I'm glad you like immersive reader. It's my favorite tool. Also English teacher, so that'll be it. But even I taught science for a while and I would absolutely use that. Science text is not easy to read for kiddos sometimes. So thanks for sharing, Gloria. I appreciate it. Ooh, yeah, uploading Canva. Cool, great idea. Such a great place to make rubrics. I love Canva. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, thinking maps and backgrounds, especially sharing, like having to create content on your own constantly. There's so much out there. And obviously, we want to curtail it for our kids in our classroom, but being able to share, especially at grade levels or in teams, is so, so important. And it does inspire others, especially those who might be exhausted and don't want to create things on their own because they're just worn out or, they don't know enough about technology. I love that, Melissa. Thanks for sharing that. Breaking information down is so, so helpful for kids. Whole text can be so overwhelming for some people. You totally should share your periodic table with your other science teachers. They're going to be so grateful. That's wonderful. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Tara. But before I do, I want to go ahead and just take us back to myviewboard.com one more time, because she's going to talk to you guys about this in a second. But right in myviewboard.com where we were getting our originals here, there's a little place on the side called community. It should be bigger. I'm going to tell our team to make it bigger, but our community page allows you to interact with teachers like you're doing right here. And this is a wonderful place to go if you want to get lessons from teachers, like teacher pay teachers, without having to pay for it. So you can come in here and teachers post lessons and you can just take them, use them, comment on them, share your own, like that scientific method lesson or background, share it here. People would love it. So there's a lot of stuff that's in here that you have access to if you'd like when you go to myviewboard.com and click on that community. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and let Tara take over. And then if you have any questions for either of us, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Tawnie. I appreciate you so much. What an informative session. I want to thank all the members of the PD team for pitching in and assisting with the chat. Thank you all participants for your questions. I hope you found this informative. As we continue to go through this series, you kind of got a feel for what the flow is going to be like. What I hope as we go is that we're going to feel a little more comfortable and you guys can, again, turn your mics on, turn your cameras on, and this can really be a free-for-all kind of conversation around the topic. That's my desire as we continue to grow and evolve with this particular series. As Tawnie mentioned, the community, those of you who've joined me before for digital workshops, I love to give stuff away. And that I would like to continue. Dan already put in the chat the how to get to the feedback form so that you can, in fact, earn your certification around this or CEUs. So we want to make sure you get credit for your time with us. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen here. And so this is the QR code for the link that, oh, yes, Tawnie.
Sorry, someone asked a question that I said I was going to answer.
Okay.
So you're going to answer it right now. I just want to make sure she knows. So Melissa, the link that Tara's going to share with you right now is going to lead to our YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel has 3 videos that say setting up your account. And that is how you connect your magic box. I'm going to share it in the chat as well. But on this page, she's going to share with you in the YouTube link is where you can go to that. Go ahead, Tara. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. I'm glad that got addressed. Perfect, Melissa. Okay, so here, this QR code is going to take you to completing the form that Dan has already very graciously dropped into chat. So if you want to, you can either click it in chat, scan it here, whichever works out easier for you. If you have not joined the community yet, I would highly encourage you to do so. The one in addition to having access to the resources that Tawnie touched upon, it's also going to make sure you have notifications around anytime we're doing another webinar so that you can minimally register so that you'll get a copy of the recording, but also if you're available, join us live so that your question can be addressed in real time. And if you haven't joined the community yet, that QR code is here. You can scan it here. And then I'm also going to, the quick link, which is here, I will put that if I can. I'm trying to grab it, if I can put it in chat. There we go. I grabbed too much, but I'll put that here and you can join. And I want to take you really quick to where, for you all who participated in this particular training event, I am doing a giveaway, as I love to do, and you can find it here, but it's not here. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. No, oh, it's been moved. Okay, one second. Oh, no, here it is, right here. Okay, so when you are on, hold on one second, let me go back to this page. So when you click that QR code, if you are joining the community for the first time, it's going to take you to our SSO page. You want to associate your district email address, okay? And if you already have my ViewBoard installed, then it's going to real quickly just get you into the community. But that QR code that I just put, that's in the chat, or that quick link that's in the chat, you can use that to go right to our SSO page. And again, all it wants to do is link your district email address via Google or Microsoft, and then it'll take you right in. You're only going to have to log in or link the emails one time. Every time after, you're just going to go right into the community. When you come into the USA Canada page and you go click here on professional development, or specifically, what did you learn from your PD experience? If you respond in this chat here, or this thread of communication here, all you'll need to do is put Tawnie, and you can put the name of our session, just one reflection. I'm going to draw a name, and that is for a portable monitor. So I would encourage you to join the community and drop a reflection from today's session. In order to participate, all I'm looking for is that you've actually been through PD in the field. So you've had one of our awesome PD experts come, or trainers come to your district, or you have participated in a virtual event. You're going to drop that reflection into this thread, and then I will draw and pull a name for our free or for a portable monitor. Questions there? Questions, comments, anything? Okay. Well, if there aren't any additional questions on anything, be it the community or anything that was discussed, then we will get ready and close out. Like I said, my goal with our Teaching Toolbox series is to come as close as possible to every 2 weeks. That's going to vary with schedules, but that's my goal, is to offer a session twice a month. So stay tuned. Again, if you join the community, you will receive notifications every time we have a new installation added to the series with one again. Oh, go.
Tara, somebody asked
Yes.
the course name. Do we have a webinar list in there, or
So
Dan, did
this,
we?
I don't think we had, has that
You
been
can just,
added to?
Gloria, for now, you can just call it basics. But we're probably going to add a webinar one on there. I think we haven't yet because this is our first one.
Yes.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're gonna get
But for now, so you get the certificate, you can just click on the basics one.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate the question, Gloria. Anyone else before we close out this session? Anyone? Such a good session. Thank you again, Tawnie. Appreciate you. Very applicable. I'm going through these courses myself because I'm wanting to learn more and more about our software. So I appreciate you.
Well, thank you guys for coming in today. It was really fun. I
Yes.
love being able to work with teachers, and thank you, Tara, for setting this up. This is a really awesome thing to make available for people. So thank you guys for participating, and go take a nap. It's end of school day. Everyone go take care of yourselves, okay? Do some yoga, have
Yes.
some water, you know.
Awesome. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Be well.
Bye.
Bye.